So we're going to talk just a little bit about an introduction to the graphing calculator and just the part of the calculator that's just like a normal regular calculator, only better. Because with the graphing calculator we can do all kinds of nifty things like edit and type over, and we can actually see what we're typing into the calculator through this great viewing screen up here. So if we just type in something like 7 plus 8, most of your calculator regular stuff is just down in this area, right around in here. Just press enter, we'll get an answer to that. If we need to say edit that line and we don't want to retype it, we can get it to return by doing a second function and an enter, and that line will return. We can move around on this line by these arrows right here. We can go back and forth on it. So let's say we really wanted to put subtract 8, so we can just type over something like this and press enter, and now we'll actually are subtracting those two numbers. So if we would like to cursor back up to that line again and say we wanted to insert a value, maybe right before the 8, maybe we wanted to say -8, we can cursor onto the 8 so it's blinking and do a second function insert, which is right above the delete button here, the INS, and you can just put a negative in there, and you could subtract 7, subtract a -8, and press enter and get that value. We can go back up more than one layer, so we can just keep doing a second function enter, and we can kind of get all the way back up to where we started, and we can just go back up quite a ways on the graphing calculator to lines that we've typed in before. We can clear the whole screen by hitting clear. We can also clear a line, clear the whole screen. We can get lines to reappear, and we can delete. Let's say we really wanted to put a 9 there. We can type over with a 9. We can delete things, like we could delete the 8. We can type over. There's all kinds of things we can do, and we can actually see what we're doing and edit what we're typing in. So that's really a nice feature of the graphing calculator. If we are going to look at something like fractions, let's enter something like a half into the graphing calculator. So when we press enter, this is turning into a fraction, because in the mode area right here, if we look into mode, if we look down a little bit in our mode area, there's something, and this is a newer calculator. Some of them don't have this feature, but there's something called math print, and math print is going to keep the stuff looking in fraction form if it can. If we move over here to classic, on the other hand, and also down here we have our answers coming out in fraction, we could move that to decimal. And so we have choices on the newer calculator how things are going to turn out on our home screen. Now, to get back to our home screen, if we're ever stuck off somewhere that we don't want to be, that's the second function, quit, which is right above the mode button. So that gets us back to this screen, which is called the home screen. So if we enter that fraction again now, 1 divided by 2, we're going to have a decimal. So there is a place here under math where we can actually take an answer and turn it into a fraction. So that will take the previous answer and actually turn it into a fraction. And right now this is in classic form, not in math print. So under mode, if we want that to appear a little bit more like a regular fraction would look, we go down here, and if we select math print and we go back and try that again, if we do 1 divided by 2, we're going to get a decimal. If we would like to change that to a fraction, we can do it under math and number 1, and then our fraction, instead of looking with a slanted fraction bar, is going to look in more like a fraction would look. We can also, under mode, if we would like to, there is a thing that helps us get fractions in mixed number form, and that's right under the math print here. You see this ND and this UN/D. So if we move over to this guy and select him, if we go back to our home screen and take a look at maybe 4 divided by 3, that's going to come out in a decimal, and then when we actually go to a fraction, it's going to turn it into a mixed number. So those are just some nice features that we can use with the graphing calculator, but it's really more just the calculator portion of the graphing calculator.